On August 8, 2025, Grass Wonder, the last living horse of the golden and strongest generation of JRA horses, passed away. For those who are curious and not in the know, the golden generation that the JRA and fans speak of is the period where Grass Wonder, Special Week, El Condor Pasa, Seiun Sky, and King Halo were constantly competing and racing together. Talented and well-trained horses like this make each race a spectacle, and of course, it increases the stakes that each race has. So this generation in particular was beloved by many. Each horse had their own story to tell. To name a few, King Halo, whose pedigree suggested that she would do well, did not find greatness as swiftly as her contemporaries. With 10 G1 losses, clearly King Halo wasn't exactly what they expected. Like a real king, however, King Halo did not lower her head. She persevered until she finally secured her first G1 win in the Takamatsunomiya Kinen. On top of that, King Halo had a rare aptitude for almost all distances, which is very rare amongst racehorses. Special Week ended a long drought of Japan-born horses of winning the Japan Cup, which is a G1 race that features some of the best horses around the world since the last Japan-born horse, Marvelous Crown, won. El Condor Pasa won the year prior, and she was trained and owned by Japan, but she was foaled in the US. Seiun Sky fought Special Week in their classic year, winning 2 of the 3 classic crowns, the Satsuki Sho and the Kikka Sho. Grass Wonder in particular was known for one particular feat, being undefeated against the great general of Japan, Special Week. Some of her famous G1 wins are, of course, consecutively winning Arima Kinen in 98 and 99, as well as winning the Takarazuka Kinen against Special Week in that same year of 99. Hilariously and almost cruelly, during Special Week's retirement race, the 99 Arima Kinen, Grass Wonder really wanted to have a perfect record, winning first against Special Week, who placed second, not allowing Special Week to end her career with a win. Grass Wonder's passing hit me quite hard, and the odd part is that she is not even my favorite horse. I do not hate her in particular, and I do not even not like her. I love the Yamato Nadeshiko vibe she has, as well as her gentle and lovely demeanor juxtaposed by her cold and killer aura when it comes to racing. After all, she has one of the hardest lines any Uma could wish for. There is no path before me, only in my wake. Honestly, that line in particular resonated with me, and I made it a goal of mine. As a special tribute and farewell for Grass Wonder, I attempted what for me was a monumental feat, the Triple Trifecta. Uma Musume has several G1 series. You have the Classics, which is the Satsuki Sho, Japan Derby, and Kikka Sho. Or you also have the Classic Tiara, which is the Oka Sho, Japan Oaks, and Shuka Sho. On top of that, you have the Autumn and Spring Triples as well. With this in mind, this means that I would have to win 9 G1 races. The Satsuki Sho, Japan Derby, and Kikka Sho, which will award me the Classic Triple. Osaka High, Tenno Sho Spring, and Takarazuka Kinen, which will give me the Spring Triple. And lastly, the Tenno Sho Autumn, Japan Cup, and Arima Kinen, from which I can acquire the Autumn Triple. One quick note is that the Spring and Autumn series has one particular oddity. Each one has races that can be attempted during Classic Year, and how the game counts these races is quite funny. Hypothetically, if during Classic Year, after completing your Classic Triple Crown run, you decide to run the Japan Cup and Arima Kinen and win both, all you need to do is win the Tenno Sho Autumn of the following year. The same goes for the Takarazuka Kinen in Classic Year. If you win that means all that remains is the Osaka High and Tenno Sho Spring of the following year. You can further utilize this by attempting these races in Classic Year, and if you do not win first place in these races, you'll at least have your second chance in the senior year, since unlike the Classic Crown races, the senior and autumn races that I just mentioned, like the Takarazuka Kinen, Japan Cup, and Arima Kinen, happen both during Classic Year and Senior Year, and they do not conflict with any G1 series. Getting one G1 series or Triple Crown, in my honest opinion, is already a very considerable challenge, Each series has a difficult race or leg, at least in my opinion. For the classics, at least for some reason, the Japan Derby is my weakest link. I have lost this race more than any other Classic Crown race. I am consistently unlucky and I get boxed in very often. Now, you might know that each classic race has an anecdote tied to it. The fastest horse wins the Satsuki Sho. Now, this makes sense because the race is 2,000 meters long. It is practically a pure test of speed among the medium races. The Kikka Sho is won by the strongest horse. The reasoning behind this is that more so than speed, your endurance and stamina is tested. This is attributed to the course being 3,000 meters long. What is considered to be the pinnacle of horse racing, the luckiest horse is the one that emerges from the Derby victorious. At 2,400 meters long, it is a challenge of both speed and strength. And at the same time, this takes place so soon after the Satsuki Sho, meaning you have very little time to rest and or train. In real life, this also means that horses are very prone to injury because they just had to brave a G1 race, and the second one is going to be more challenging than the first. Now, going into this challenge, I first went with a conventional miler build, which consists of 4 speed and 2 power cards, with stamina inheritance. This assures that at least by the time I reach Tenno Sho Spring, with good training RNG, I have 550 to 600 stamina with a recovery skill to boot. Tenno Sho Spring, after all, is almost purely a stamina check. Having stamina below 600 is by no means a run killer for the Tenno Sho Spring, but you will most likely need a gold recovery skill. On top of that, you cannot have a late start, and you definitely cannot rush on top of that. Otherwise, your chances of keeping your top speed at the end of the race are very, very slim. The least of my worries, honestly, was the Autumn Triple, and this is because by this phase of the career, my Uma should have all the stats and skills they could need for the Tenno Sho Autumn, Japan Cup, and Arima Kinen. And I have a very good track record with the Autumn Triple. What's left really other than the Japan Derby, which is my personal nemesis, and Tenno Sho Spring, is RNG, the silent killer of each attempt. I have lost count of how many runs have ended because I get perfectly blocked in 1 or 2 races, and the culprit is very consistent. Most of my blocked runs happened during the Derby. Now, to deal with this, I brought my Tokai Teio card. Despite it being rare and only LB3, I was really after the skills that it gave me. Nimble Navigator and Go with the Flow are very good skills to help you when you do get blocked or to prevent you from getting blocked. Now, I want to emphasize the word help because these skills do not prevent you from being blocked, nor do they make a losing situation due to blocking a winning situation. They only reduce your chances of losing due to blocking. After all, if you are blocked, you are simply blocked. A brave trainer attempted this test. They gave their Uma 1200 power, which is the maximum we can have currently. And when they got perfectly blocked, they still lost. This is how harsh RNG can be in races. With the races in mind, I now had to think about whether I run Grass Wonder as a late surger or as a pace chaser. Each has its pros and cons, in particular for Grass Wonder. Grass Wonder's unique skill requires her to be 4th place or worse when she passes someone on the final straight for her skill to trigger. Running as a late surger will almost always place her at around 4th or worse by the final straight. However, as a late surger, I must deal with traffic more often than I would as a pace chaser. Now, this also means that my special week SSR that gives Gourmand is not usable as a late surger since it exclusively triggers on pace chasers. As a late surger, however, I have a very high speed multiplier in the final straight, one of the highest out of the 4 running strategies, as long as I do not get blocked hard. Running Grass Wonder as a pace chaser reduces the risk of being blocked by a considerable amount. I also get access to Gourmand, which is a very good recovery skill exclusive to pace chasers. Unfortunately, as a pace chaser, this means that my 550 to 600 stamina for Tenno Sho Spring won't be enough, or at least it won't be comfortably enough. I would need a little more than 600 and a gold recovery skill on top of that. Late surgers and end closers are the most efficient race strategies in terms of stamina consumption. On top of that, Grass Wonder as a pace chaser, if there are very little pace chasers to contest, means that I'll be placed 4th and better most of the time, meaning I will rarely see Grass Wonder trigger her unique skill. This means that if a late surger like Simboli Rudolph or Ogre Cap triggers their skill, there is a very high chance that they will overtake me. As I mentioned, each strategy has its pro and con. And in this case, the way I saw it, I will have to deal with more RNG overall as a pace chaser than I would a late surger Grass Wonder, since my primary RNG as a late surger Grass Wonder is really block RNG, which is exclusive to races. This means that my training RNG can be a bit lenient, since stamina is less of a concern compared to if I ran her as a pace chaser. Once you realize Grass Wonder's growth rates, you'll understand why training RNG for stamina in particular can be a pain for her. Now, with all the main win conditions ticked and checked, all that was left was to run these attempts and pray a lot. I had no expectation whether I'd get it on my 3rd or 10th or 20th attempt. After all, I was not doing this for a challenge or a special quest in-game. It was purely a tribute to Grass Wonder. All paths before her are in her wake, and this for me was the final path. I had to put it behind me as well, so I can be worthy enough to face Grass Wonder. We came so close several times. Sometimes we ended up with 8 out of 9 races cleared first place, meaning we'd get 2 triple series out of 3. Sometimes, however, our luck was very poor be it in the races or training, and I'd only get 1 series. Sometimes Tenno Show Spring, despite Grass Wonder having 600 stamina, would start late and rush on top of that, meaning she would gas out by the final straight. If not the Tenno Show Spring, the usual Japan Derby blocking RNG would kill the run. Now, when this happened a few times more than I wanted it to, I decided to trade 1 speed card for Super Creep. I knew from the beginning that this meant that my speed would be lower than usual for a miler, but that is okay, because this build is specifically not for PvP, but to achieve the Triple Trifecta, where all races are medium and long, not a single mile race in sight. On top of that, medium races have lower speed checks or requirements than mile races. Grass Wonder also has a 20% speed and 10% power growth, meaning stamina was definitely an area Grass Wonder would have a challenge training on. This would be alleviated slightly by Super Creep. When I switched to this 3-2-1 build, I noticed that my results got better. At least I could see that I was getting stamina checked less, and now I was 100% sure that only 1 nemesis remained, RNG. At this point, I knew what I had to do. Grass Wonder had everything ready. All that was left was for the stars to align. On August 12, 2025, 4 days after Grass Wonder joined the strongest generation in pastures beyond our own, I achieved the Triple Trifecta.
Seiun Sky のマヤのトップガン、この2人が競り合っているぞ。これから第2コーナーへかかっていきます。期待通りの結果を出せるか。一番人気 F1 ランナーSeiun Sky快調に飛ばしていきます。先頭はSeiun Sky安心で飛ばしていきます。2番手の位置で先頭を伺うのはマヤのトップガン、2コーナー回って向こう正面。さあ、花に立ったのはSeiun Sky。このままリードすることができるか。グラスワンダー上がっていきます。スタミナを切らさないか心配です。
Break out of that, break out of that. Okay, good.
続きましたマヤのトップガン、少し後ろから
Alright, I can see her going on the outside. Nice. There's just that wall of base chasers we'll have to go through. Grass Wonder, you need a better lane. There is a big wall of base chasers right in front of you. Take the far outside if you can, girl. What do you do best, Grass Wonder? Come on! Please! Please! Come on! Take the lead! Take the lead! Take the lead! Yes! 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 Finally, the daunting path ahead of me was finally in my wake, and I could smile and hold my head high every time I faced Grass Wonder. She gave it her all for her goals, her opponents, and for her trainer. It's only fitting that I give it my all for my trainee, for Grass Wonder. All of us have a personal attachment to perhaps one Uma, and it can be for any reason. Grass Wonder in particular really brought out the trainer in me that I never dared think I could be. And this is why I love this game. The intertwining true stories of these horses that our Uma Musumes are based off on, and our own original stories as trainers just pulls you and captures you. Words cannot be enough to describe how much I love this silly and beautiful game about anime horse girls. Thank you so much for watching, Foxtrots. I know this is not a guide video per se, but I really wanted to make this video about my tribute to Grass Wonder. See you all in the next video, and until then, take care and happy gaming.